So in this next video we're going to talk about the support that you get as a foster carer, and the first area of support I'm going to mention is financial support. So when you're looking after a child you get two weekly amounts of money. So the first one is an allowance to cover all the costs associated with caring for the child, so things like pocket money, food, money to do activities, money to buy clothing, money for transport, etc. And there's recommendations for how you should divvy up that money to make sure you're spending the right amount in each of those categories. Secondly, you receive a professional fee, so it's kind of like your wage for being a foster carer each week, and it's worth pointing out that for the first sum, the allowance to spend on the child, that's public money, so you will be asked to be accountable for the way that you spend it. So that might mean having to show receipts or having to have conversations about where the money's gone, to making sure that it is being spent in the best interests of the child. The second amount, your fee, no one's going to ask you what you do with that, that's yours. And then on top of those kind of consistent weekly amounts that you receive when you're looking after a child, there's also additional money available to help with startup costs. So say you start looking after a baby and before that you've only done older children, you might not have all the equipment that you need, a steriliser, a cot, a car seat, for example. So there's additional money to help you get going with a new placement. For an older child, maybe you need to buy a desk or some new bed covers. And then on top of that, there's amounts that are given at different points throughout the year. So there's an amount given at the child's birthday so that you can celebrate their birthday really well, an amount to be able to go on holiday in the summer. It's really important that we include children in holidays wherever possible. And then finally an amount to celebrate Christmas or whatever festival is appropriate, so that might be Eid, and that would depend obviously on the cultural and religious background of the child that you're caring for at that time. And with all of this, I would say that fostering is not a lucrative career option. So if you're looking for kind of a simple way to earn money, this is probably not the right option for you. But the money is there because for most people we recognise that you probably couldn't afford to foster if it wasn't for this support. So that's why it's in place, to enable you to provide the child in your care with a really rich experience of family life and the opportunity to try new things as they grow up and enjoy living with you. So that's money, and there's some other kind of types of support that you receive as a foster carer as well. So you have access to your own social worker called a supervising social worker, who is there to support you in your role. So kind of a bit like having a manager at work really. They're kind of there to help you with everything that you need and to check in and make sure you're doing things properly. So they would normally come and see you about once a month, but also be available on the phone as often as you need them as well. And then outside of that kind of point person for you, you've also got access to the duty team. So we always have social workers from the fostering team on duty during office hours, Monday to Friday 9 till 5, that you can call to get help. And then outside of office hours, it's the emergency duty team. So at any time of year, 24/7, there's always somebody available for you to talk to should you need support. Maybe there's an emergency or something and you need help to know how to deal with that. On top of that, you get a lot of support from other foster carers as well. So we have monthly support groups where foster carers gather with other foster carers caring for similar aged children. So we have 3 groups, one for baby carers, one for carers looking after primary school aged children, and one for carers looking after teenagers. So you can come and get mutual support from other people who would probably be going through similar challenges to you. And our foster carers as a whole in Camden have created something called the Camden Association of Foster Carers, and they meet and put forward ways that the service can be improved, So maybe things like pay increases. The idea of having 3 separate support groups focused on different ages came from the association as well. So that's a really great group created for carers and run by foster carers in Camden. And every year we have an awards ceremony where we invite all of our foster carers to come and celebrate their achievements, and that's a really special time. Fostering is one of those kind of unsung hero roles, but the work is fantastic that our foster carers do, the dedication, the commitment to children with often not much by way of reward in return. So it's really important that we pause and celebrate everything that our wonderful foster carers do. And then there's also a lot of training on offer. So you have to do a 3-day training course as you are going through the assessment process, and I'll talk more about that at the end of these videos. That's called the Skills to Foster, and that's part of your application. But then once you're approved, there's lots of training that you can access as well. So some of that's mandatory and you have to complete it periodically, things like first aid. You need to be up to date on that. And then there's lots of other training courses that you can dip in and out of as needs arise. And the training in Camden is of a really high quality. Actually, our foster carers have a special stream of training just for them, but then they also have access to the training that us as social workers go on, and we've got some links with different places in London, so UCL, University College London, and the Anna Freud Centre, where we can tap into latest research and development as well to make sure we are becoming experts in childcare.